Serbian music is unique music, just like any other music, but just it's Serbian language, you know. And if you try to translate Serbian music to English, for example, or Spanish, it will lose its meaning completely. There are some certain words and phrases that you can't just say. You cannot translate it from Serbian to English. Trubo folk is basically the best Serbian music. People, when people are sad, they go to like different places where they can drink, like bars and stuff like that, and they just get drunk listening to this music.
So I'm gonna tell you about how Icelandic musicians don't make their living through their music back home. Most of them have full-time jobs that they have with the music business that they're in. The music is kind of like a side thing that they trying to make some extra money, but it's a decent money, and it's a lot of time that they take to do it. So it's really hard to like make it only through music back home, because you gotta be steadily giving out the music every probably, I guess, 6 months. I mean, it's fair.
most common instrument used in traditional folk music. The bombing is very important in Swedish fiddle playing. This is what makes the rhythm come out right. It's quite common to retune the strings of a fiddle. A group called the Gothic Society in the 19th century began collecting and publishing the oldest Swedish fiddle tunes they could find, which then sparked live performances among all fiddle players.
Dominated by the classical guitar as well as flamenco, which is a folkloric style of music. Take a listen to some of the traditional guitar in the video being played. The music of Germany has long been dominated by the classical genre. Composers such as Bach and Mozart created works of art that are still enjoyed today by many. Many of these compositions included multiple instruments and would require someone to direct them all, as it was quite complex. Oftentimes, songs lasted well beyond 30 minutes. Enjoy a quick snippet in this video.
Mariachi bands date back to 18th century Mexico. The Spanish introduced violins, guitars, harps, brass instruments, and woodwinds to the Mexican bands. Trumpets would later be introduced, creating the music that we are familiar with today. In the 20th century, the music was transformed from a regional rural folk music to an urban phenomenon that came to represent Mexico. The size of a mariachi group can vary and typically depends on the availability of musicians. The usual mariachi group today consists of as many as 8 violins, 2 trumpets, and at least 1 guitar. Members dress as charros, which is a traditional Mexican horseman. This is a defining trait of mariachi bands and honors the small regions from which mariachi originated. Songs are often played by mariachi bands on request, making bands required to know hundreds of traditional Mexican folk songs. Korean pop music began from Western influence following the Korean War. Today's pop music still follows the trends and styles of Western pop music, but provides its own unique message to the Korean people. Korean pop music's fan base, however, is what really sets it apart culturally from all other pop music. Fandom is almost a tradition in Korea. Fans have even created micro-businesses running fan clubs. These clubs memorize chants for their idols and decide on ways to show devotion. However, sometimes fans go too far in trying to show devotion, and Koreans have coined a word for them, which is saesung, which describes a fan more so as a stalker.